expand and simplify y plus 3 times y plus 5. So the first thing I've done is I've put a little times symbol there, because remember there's an imaginary times. We don't tend to use the times symbol in algebra because it looks like x. Okay, before I do anything else, I'm going to have a look at the number 83 times 85. And what would I normally do to figure that out? Well, I would do a grid method. So 83 times 85. And this here would be 80 times 80. Remember, we're times in because it's grid method multiplication. So 8 times 8 is 64. And then I've got the 2 zeros, 6,400. This here is 80 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40. I've got that 0, so it's 400. This here is 80 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24, so 80 times 3 is 240. This here is 3 times 5, which is 15. Then I would add everything together. So I'd have 5, 4 add 4 is 8, 9, 10, 6 add 1 is 7. So the answer to that would be 7,055. Okay, so that's what I would do for a number question. Now look how similar this is. I've split it up to 80 and 3, so the 83 has changed to 80 and 3. And the 85 has changed to 80 and 5. So you should be seeing how similar they are. Now remember, what works with number works with algebra. So all we're going to do is use a grid method. But this time I'm going to have y add 3 and times by y plus 5. Now I have put the add symbols in there just to show that they're positive. It's really useful when they're negative, and I'll show you a question like that in a second. Okay, so this box here is y times y. Now remember, that's y squared. 2 times 2 is 2 squared, 3 times 3 is 3 squared, y times y is y squared. This box here is y times 5. Now you have to be really careful because a lot of people tend to do y add 5. That's wrong. It's y times by positive 5. So that ends up being positive 5y. This box here is positive 3 times y, which is positive 3y. And this box here is positive 3 times positive 5, which is positive 15. So when we were doing the number, once we'd done our grid, we then added everything together. So let's put all of these in a row, add them together. Y squared, add 5y, add 3y, add 15. And we've got some like terms in there. So let's just draw those on. So I've got some y's. Remember, you need to include the sign that's in the front. So I'm just going to put the squares around my y's. So those can come together. Positive 5y, add 3y is positive 8y. So altogether I will have y squared plus 8y plus 15. And there's my answer. Okay, let's have another go. This time there's a negative involved as well. So it's x plus 5 times by x minus 1. You can always draw that little imaginary times symbol on there if you want. So I need to draw my grid method. X plus 5 times by x minus 1. You'll notice I'm doing curly x's and the times is perfectly straight. So whenever I'm doing my working, I know straight away there's a difference between those. So here, x times x is x squared. Here, x times negative 1 is negative 1x. Now I can put negative 1x, but remember, you don't actually need that 1 because it's an imaginary one. So we can just put minus x. Positive 5 times x is positive 5x. And then positive 5 times negative 1. Well, positive 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times negative 1 is going to be negative 5. So let's write them all out. X squared plus 5x minus x minus 5. It really doesn't matter which way round you write those, but now I should be realising that I can bring some x's together. So let's just put squares around my x's to demonstrate that they're like terms. So those are going to come together, those squares are actually going to come together to be, it's positive 5x, take away x, which is 4x. So altogether I'm going to have x squared, and it's positive 4x, so it's add 4x, take away 5. And there's my end expression. One a little bit harder. Grid method again. 5y minus 1 times by y minus 2. So here is 5y times y. Well, y times y is y squared. So 5y times y is 5y squared. 5y times negative 2. Well, 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. So 5y times negative 2 is negative 10y. So think of that in stages. Negative 1 times y. Well, 1 times y is y. Negative 1 times y is negative y. Negative 1 times negative 2, let's do the numbers first. 1 times 2 is 2. Negative times a negative is a positive. So that's positive 2. Let's write them all out. 5y squared minus 10y minus y plus 2. Should notice that we're going to be collecting some terms, so I'll put squares around my y's so that I know to collect those. So I've got my squares, which is equal to negative 10y take away y. So you need to think of this on a number line. I'm already at negative 10y. There's 0y, and I'm taking away another y. I'm getting further away from 0 it's going to be negative 11y. So let's write it all out now. So I've still got 5y squared, but I've got that negative 11y, which has brought those y's together. Add 2. There's my final expression. This one may be confusing to start with, but remember that that squared means that you're timesing by itself. So this is actually x minus 7 times by x minus 7, which is just a grid. X times x is x squared. X times negative 7, negative 7x. X times negative 7, negative 7x. And negative 7 times negative 7. 7 times 7 is 49. And a negative times a negative is a positive. So I've got x squared minus 7x minus 7x plus 49. So I need to put those two x's together, those two x terms. So negative 7x, take away 7x, think of it on a number line. There's 0x, there's negative 7x, I need to take away another 7x. It's going further away from 0, it's going to be negative 14x. So altogether I'm going to have x squared minus 14x plus 49.